So you fucking freak has always asked for it. Here you go. Yeah, man, Joe Biden, whatever. All right. Expand players' imaginations. We wanted each major update. Yeah, so I read all this, whatever. It's cool. Pretty much TLDR here is like, hey, we want to do a lot of cool stuff that make players do cool stuff, but it's going to take a while. That's the TLDR on that. Season of Defiance, season of whatever. I don't remember what it's called. The Haunted or something like that. They're getting with umbrals. Cool, I guess. Umbrals to simplify that system because now you're going to get keys instead of umbrals. That's awesome, I guess. I don't care. This system does not pertain to me. I play the game for a living. I cannot relate to this at all. I literally play video games for a living. I am better at them than most people. I am more efficient at them than most people. And I just play them more than most people, which is the most important concept of all of that in Destiny. So I can't possibly relate to this change being a thing because me getting an umbral engram is me just booting up stream, right? Other people getting an umbral engram, that might be like a whole week for them because they can only play 45 minutes after work and then they gotta watch the kids or make mac and cheese. Cool. Okay. Season of Defiance comes after that one season. Cool. We got Season of the Deep. All right. That doesn't mean much for me. Again, vendor upgrade. You don't have to do the vendor upgrade path anymore. That's cool. Hey, I'm cool with that. I think that's a good change. Whatever. That really doesn't pertain to me. Yet again, it doesn't pertain to me because I can still just play the game. These are just activity time sinks and they don't actually do anything for the game. What the changes that have been posted here in what we have right now functionally do not change how I play the game at all because I would still play the game just by playing the game, right? That's it. So we're 0 for, I don't want to say we're 0 for 2, but these are two things that I can't possibly relate to, and I'm not trying to like shit on it or flame it or anything, but this is just my perspective. I can't possibly relate to these things. It's not possible for me. Yeah, I'll see you later, Jesse. Weapon crafting, what they said is there's less craftable weapons and more random roll stuff, which I have one for this. Nice. Chance of a rune being dropped by a level 81 plus monster being a Zod is 1 in 1,000, 1 in 1,000, or sorry, 5,171. Counting only L runes, it would take exactly 14,281,868,906,496 through L runes through the Heraldric Cube to create one Zod rune. You guys want to go farm? You want to go farm random rolls? You want to go do menial tasks to grind? Go farm Zod runes. Not only that, you also need 241,864,704 chipped topazes, 80,621,568 chipped amethysts, 26,873,856 chipped sapphires, 8,957,952 chipped rubies, 2,985,984 chipped emeralds, 995,328 chipped diamonds, 331,776 flawed topazes, 110,000. Okay, you get my point. Selling all these items instead of using them for a Zod rune would yield 3,999,247,109,880 gold. Enough to fill a stash to its maximum gold capacity 1,599,605,698 times in one of, if not the grindiest RPG ever. But weapon crafting's the problem. Millions, billions, millions. It would take 387 millions to do this. All right. So we already know how I feel about the random roll thing and how there are more RNGs being injected into the game. I think that's unhealthy. People talk about not respecting time and then they ask for this. That's a little bit of a contradiction, don't you think? However, I can't comment. I don't have the game installed. I haven't played it for 4 months, so don't take it from me. Don't take it from me, all right? So you'll never see deep sight on a weapon unless it's something you need to make pattern progress on. That's sad. Okay, you can activate deep sight. That's cool, I guess. Like, this is just kind of giving a rundown for it. Okay, you can... Oh, they added another layer on top of it. You can get enhanced perks on your non-crafted weapons, which is like, whatever. No, they're not taking away weapon crafting. They're making less weapons craftable, and they're making it so that more weapons are relying on random rolls, so that people can chase their dopamine hit. So here, I'll read it. I'll keep it in context. I'll keep it in context to be completely fair, because Joe Garath is a very nice guy. So here it is, weapon crafting. You're going to want a killer set of new weapons for those challenges, talking about the difficulty going up, whatever. And this year, we're going to change how you think about obtaining those weapons with some major updates to weapon crafting. While we love having some sorts of deterministic perks, we found that the route to getting the weapons you want to craft can be too random at the same time. We also believe weapon crafting, being a part of so many of our weapon chases, has diminished the joy of simply getting a great perk roll as a drop. So, here's what you can expect to change with weapon crafting in the year of Lightfall. No, it's not a patch note. This is that, like, state of the game thing they release every year. So, there's that. As you can see, I'm balding. Talking about increasing difficulty, this was what I was talking about reading this out. Ability tuning is whatever. They said that, like, they want to try to experiment with tuning, like, new game modes that tune player, like, recharge time and ammo economy and stuff like that, and then we'll have to see what that looks like, right? It doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, they're not tuning the core, they're tuning an alternative game mode, which proves that they like the state that the game's in, but they want to try to satiate a certain player demographic. That's how I interpret that. Oh, they talked about this, where they're nerfing resilience stat. Okay, that's fine, whatever. Build crafting updates in Lightfall, yeah. Enemy mine, talking about how they're having a scaling knob that adjusts to, like, how high your power level can be, when the problem wasn't the challenge at the beginning, at the bottom level, it was the challenge at the top level. The top level challenge was, like, a little bit too easy for a lot of people. And there was no incentive to, like, be a master of your craft, right? There was only a very good adept of your craft, and that kind of created a problem when you think about it. Yo, what's up, Sonny? How are you? So that's cool, I guess. Something about Neonuma, whatever, power seasons. Enrich our content is... This was a vague, and I think that this is open to interpretation, this paragraph. What they're trying to say is we want to try to get more and more content in every release, but instead of that, sorry, he said that instead of taking this approach, what they want to do is try to make the current content better, which I think is an approach that a lot of people would appreciate and want right now. This is from Season 3, by the way. This is from Season 3 Iron Banner. PvP is here to stay in Destiny 2. That's pretty obvious. He said that 4 times now. So in Season of Defiance, which is the first Lightfall season, they talked about getting Countdown back into the game. A lot of people are going to rejoice over this, and they're going to realize how bad non-respawn is with the current player, what's it called? The current sandbox and, like, ammo economy and abilities and all that stuff. And they're going to hate it, and it's going to be dead mode 2 weeks in. Again, not trying to be the guy. I'm not trying to be that guy right now. That is what's going to happen. That's what happened with Rift, and I was kind of stoked for Rift, but then they did, like, weird stuff with it. That's what happened with the eruption thing, whatever. So they also talked about Countdown Rush, which is Spike Rush, right? From Valorant, where you... And then they're talking about a series of Crucible Labs modes, where they're changing the sandbox, which is damage, ability uptime, ammo, cool, checkmate control. This is open to interpretation, so let's see. I'm sure Kevin Giannis has probably cranked out something incredible for this, as he usually does, because he is very good at doing things that he needs to do and wants to do and has a vision that he wants to create. Isn't all we have for planned mode, so that's cool. Classic and all new modes, I'm sure that's gonna be cool. Steady stream, reigning in a player power. Again, this is open to interpretation. We're not sure what this looks like, but Crucible maps plan, which means we get 2 returning maps and 1 new map again. Why does World of Warcraft get more new arena maps? More arena maps than Destiny 2 gets PvP maps. Arena is played by like 5% of the player base. What? It's so frustrating to see this kind of stuff, bro. Like, actually, I want to see. Can I like queue a skirmish real quick? No. So, there's no BG, I think, for this one. But for arena, I know there's a specific arena. I know there's a specific arena, for... What's it called? Whatever. So anyway, besides the fucking point. There's a specific Dragonflight arena for these, not 10v10, but 3v3, 2v2, and solo shuffle. So, whatever. Let's take my opinion out of it. You're getting 2 returning maps, and they're not necessarily bad maps. One of them was a little bit notorious for being a little bit campy and a little bit spawn trappy, which is the Citadel. That is the reputation it has in the community, or had, rather. And then there's Meltdown, which is objectively a similar concept, but a much more confidently flowing map, because you had 4 lanes with 3 main lanes and a sub lane that kind of connected, which is not a bad thing, right? I don't think that that's a bad thing. Meltdown definitely was it could be a one-sided map, but that's besides the point. Again, we're playing a completely different game than we did in Forsaken and Shadowkeep, so we'll see. And 1 brand new map. I think that 1 brand new map in a year is a little bit far stretching. You're not contributing much to this ecosystem that you're confident, like you're not confident, constantly saying that, oh, PvP matters. PvP is an integral part of the game. And then you give no content to it other than like a couple of game modes. And don't get me wrong, the game modes are cool. I'm sure that's going to be awesome for the Destiny players, right? That's going to be fucking tight, bro. That shit's going to be sick. Again, curious to see what they do with the Ghetto Spike Rush and Countdown being a thing again. I'm sure radar will be enabled as it always is, but yeah. 1 new map is... I'm looking for an analogy here. I'm looking for an analogy. Besides the point, right? But let's move on past this. Besides the point, it doesn't feel good. That doesn't feel good that there's 1 map, right? Like, imagine if Call of Duty released a map pack that had 1 map. They would never get away with that. But that's not a fair comparison, because we're comparing apples to Doritos at that point, you know? Flavor blasted goldfish. Besides the point, cool. Matchmaking, we still don't feel we nailed the trade-off between fair matches and good connections. You could throw fair matches out. You haven't nailed good connections. There's still so many networking issues, and they have not been addressed at all. Your server stability is still awful. Things lag all over the place in PvE. Your networking in PvP is abysmal. It doesn't matter if it's a fair match, competitive match, anything, because it's not... How can something be a fair match if 1 player is teleporting all over the place like this, and you have Titans that melee and blink all over the place when they melee? How can you... Like, that's not... You need to address these problems immediately. 5 years ago. it's 5 years too late, 6 years, 7 years, 8 years too late at this point, and you're running into this thing where players are now being like, hey, 8 years of this, we kind of would like, you know, something, hey, can we work on the networking, can we do something? And it's clear to me now as an ex-player that the answer is no, right? Now, am I bitching at this point? Yeah, I'm definitely complaining. I've got some harsh words here to say. I'm not going to say them because it's fucked up. But, like, it's also getting old at this point, you know? I would really love for... I don't know, like, anything to fucking go correctly in this game, but it doesn't happen, so what am I gonna do, complain? No, I'm not gonna complain. I'm just gonna move on and say, hey, unless they have the words networking, server, right, they've got servers, but it's only saying, oh, we have a sneak peek, or, stability, like, what's stopping you from playing a different video game, where these things are rare, if not non-existent, you know? Moving past that, and that's a major pain point for me. I just don't understand how this is still a problem 8 fucking years later. It's been 8 fucking years. 8 years of laggy. At some point, you gotta you gotta look at it and just be like, all right, what can we do to mitigate this in the fucking slightest? All right, moving out. So, Exotic Mission Rotator, I think that's a cool addition. I think that this is cool. I hope that they do something cool with this. It's a shame that they don't have, like, the Whisper mission and stuff on this, but, I mean, Presage is cool. I didn't do Seraph Shield because I didn't play. And I guess that Vox Obscura missions was cool, too. I only did it, like, day of release, and then I did it to farm the, like, the pinnacle on it. Stepping back again to this, I kind of glossed over this very, very non-briefly. So they want to zoom out and upgrade the meta system and encourage folks to play PvP. So pretty much what they're trying to say is they want to make it so that your loot structure for playing PvP is more fair, and it incentivizes you to get in, play your PvP matches, and go do whatever else you want, instead of feeling like you need to grind out Iron Banner and grind out trials, right? So what that probably looks like on paper for you as a player who doesn't play PvP or doesn't play it very often, or you play it very casually, is you're looking at a system that is... You're probably looking at, like, trials being, like, the weapons being more buyable. Adept weapons, you can get, like, 1 a week from just getting 7 wins in the playlist with an infinite amount of losses. Things like that. Things that are more accessible. Your pinnacle is going to be more from, like, just playing 3 matches or whatever. Stuff like that. Whatever. Who cares? People are going to play it if they want it anyways. It's not like it's hard. They'll sit in a stream and get a carry if they really want their adept weapon. Vanguard rituals, battlegrounds are being added. There's grandmaster battlegrounds, apparently. That's interesting. Lake of Shadows and Arm Dealer were too efficient, so they decided to make them harder. That's how I interpret that, at least. Lightblade and Proving Grounds were too hard, so they took them out. That's a joke, by the way. Lightblade was definitely pretty tough. I think it's pretty easy now. Proving Grounds is just a good strike in general. Exodus Crash and Inverted Spire got canned for whatever reasons, because they're going to update them or something. That's how I gathered this paragraph. Battlegrounds integrated in Vanguard, Scene 60, yeah, so there's Vanguard Ops, cool. Does it mean like this Hive battle, whatever they're called? Heists? Does it mean heists? Okay, yeah, they're adding heists to this. That's kind of crazy. Heist in the Nightfall rotation, that's unique. I don't think this is bad, but I think that perhaps... I think that they've set a precedent here, and players are misunderstanding, and they're like, "What? Why are they adding heists?" Right? When it's all under this general umbrella of Vanguard Ops, and I understand it. I think that this is a cool way to mix it up, right? Whatever. I don't think that's bad. We get further away from Lightfall and our seasonal schedule. They want to target change of ritual content based on what we've observed with players engaging in this content. We don't really expect changes to make it from season finds. So over time, we want to start pushing more rewards on the ritual content, more options to engage with our ritual content. All right, cool. So they want to, like, yeah, they want to move the initial source of obtaining exotic armor away from like lost sectors and back into the core ritual. So more Destiny 1-esque, where you could, oh my God, Gallarhorn from fucking a PvP match, right? That's kind of what they're saying. That's not bad. That's kind of how it should be, but I understand why people might be frustrated that, oh man, now instead of having to grind out the arm loss sector, I've got to, go do random shit until I get this. And like for alt accounts or like, unique character builds or whatever, that can be kind of a ball drag, but this kind of stuff never really pertained to me much, because if I needed something, I just sat down and like grew 5 neckbeards grinding it out. Again, not everyone can do that, so I'm not sure if this is necessarily healthy or better for every player or the average gamer boy or girl or whatever you want to be, a gamer Dorito, but yeah. Connect our guardians. This is so fucking ironic. It's talking about guardian ranks. Commendations, guardian ranks. I'm not real sure what to think of this system. I'm not sure why loadout slots are locked behind guardian ranks, but whatever. That's an opinionated statement. We're gonna step away from the opinions here at this second. Chat is now opt out instead of opt in, so that means your default hit opt in to try and create more of a MMO community kind of feel in the game. I understand, this is cool. Fireteam Finder and built it into the game, and that's pretty much the whole thing. So, all in all, I think that the Fireteam Finder thing's cool. I'm glad that they mentioned on it. Instead of going in a random Discord and finding 3 racist players to do your raid with, you can now find a Fireteam Finder and pull someone who's got a higher Guardian rating or whatever it's called, Guardian rank, and they've got communication or like, commendations like, oh, this guy is perceptive and stuff like that. That's a cool system, right? That's a good way to moderate, and I think that that can't be overlooked. As someone who has friends who always does this stuff, it's not that big of a deal, but I think for people who are maybe a little bit more skittish and more reluctant to find new players to reach out to and stuff like that, that this could be a cool thing, right? I know that, like, queuing into, like, mythic dungeons or whatever, sometimes I'll be like, oh, man, I hope these guys aren't, like, dickheads, or, I want them to be chill and not rage, right? And then you could find that with that, the built-in integrated LFG system tied with the Guardian rank, so that's cool. The game chat's a good way to, make some new friends. You're like, haha, oh, man, I got owned in trials in the tower, and someone's like, oh, yeah, dude, I got lucky, I faced a bunch of noobs in Vendetta, like, stuff like that. Cool, I guess it's the same. All these encompass the same thing I was just talking about. Vanguard ops changes or whatever, they don't pertain to me. I used to play this kind of content. I don't really play the game anymore. Time will tell whether or not these age well, right? You can't tell if these are going to age well or not, so, yeah. Exotic mission rotator is cool. Hey, we'll see. Maybe, hopefully they can add, like, Whisper mission and whatever that Outbreak mission was called, and all that stuff would be really, really cool if they got to throw that into the game. I think that that would be really cool. Something 0, patient 0, I don't remember, whatever. Crucible changes, I don't have any opinions on because I haven't seen it on paper. I haven't seen number, data, gameplay, anything, so I can't form an opinion. And the enemy difficulty knob or whatever that they've used as an example here is, again, I haven't seen it on paper. I think that they're targeting the wrong area. Instead of targeting the higher level, they're targeting the bottom level. But I understand, because why would they target the higher level if it's 0.1% of players, right? Salted Repo wants to have higher raid content, like contest modifier. Salted Repo and the 20 other players who want to do that, they're just going to make their own challenges. And then that's probably going to be Bungie's thinking, right? I'm in that group. That, oh, contest raid should be like its own thing that you can launch into at any time, any place, ever. And so this, falls into my whole world's first race theory as well. Instead of having a day 1 clear or a contest mode clear or whatever, you should have like a first 100 groups thing. First 100 groups or 100, 500, 1,000, whatever, get an emblem. And everyone in that group gets that emblem, so that means that you're not necessarily going to have 600 players with that emblem. If like one squad clears and then they go and bring in like their other noobs, like their 2 backup players, and then they clear again, that means that only 2 extra players got the emblem instead of, whatever. You could set that at a hard number, like 6,000 players, right? 6,000 unique players, so that's 1,000 groups of 6 that get the day 1 emblem or whatever, right? And then that's like, your Hall of Fame, and it's like, oh, bro, I got Hall of Fame in season 19 and season 23, implying that, hey, you grinded and you were amongst the top 1%, or it's top 0.25% or something like that is what I would estimate that to be, to clear that raid, and then you would have a contest emblem for clearing the raid in contest mode at any time, right? Because that seems to be what people are more interested in, is like, oh, I like to do the contest thing. And if it's not, you can't cry wolf on elitism, because crying wolf on elitism, I've given you an option that's more than 48 hours to clear it, right? I've given you this option that says, hey, I don't care when you clear it, if you are in the first 1,000 raid teams to clear this raid, you get an emblem that you will never get again. It will never be available again, right? And that's your flex versus it's not healthy to grind contest for 24 hours. Your argument is now gone. And yes, inherently the whole first 1,000 teams or 100 teams or whatever, that is inherently elitist. But this is, if they're going to market this as an RPG, an MMO, or an MMORPG, elitism is an imperative feature because it breeds competition. And if you have no competition in something called the world first race in a raid, why the fuck do you have a competition at all? Why is there anything? Why is there a difficulty selector? That's my thoughts on that. Moving back up to this, to wrap up on this, I feel like you're targeting the wrong area with this enemy, difficulty knob that they're talking about. Why target the bottom? The people at the bottom are gonna want to play anyways. They're gonna be playing like this, dude. They're gonna be playing like they don't give a fuck what fucking difficulty they're playing on. They want to play on adept and shoot aliens. Moving up, build crafting, whatever. We'll see what the fuck this looks like. Right? What else can you do? Aside from that, like, I don't have much to say. I talked about the Zod runes and, farming random rules, whatever, dude. I don't see it on paper. I don't know what these items look like. I don't know what these grinds look like, so I can't comment, right? I can't comment. But, yeah, that's my thoughts on this. So you wanted to know my fucking opinion on all this? That's my opinion. Hey, I think it's cool. There's a lot of cool stuff. There's a lot of, I don't really get that. But I think that the social features that they're bringing in is kind of good. I think it's cool stuff. But I also don't give a fuck about most of it because it doesn't pertain to me as a player. Dab, dab, dab. That's all I gotta say. I'm gonna go pee now. Hope you enjoyed.